This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
Implementation urged for developments in the country. 5 million Kina electricity project for Vanimo questioned. And PNGDF completes investigations on death of 2 soldiers. Good evening, you're watching National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. Implementation is a serious issue when it comes to the national development agendas of priority sectors in the country. Finance and National Planning Minister Renbo Paita made a statement during Parliament question time in Parliament today.
Minister Paita was responding to Southern Highlands Governor William Powie on the importance of development budget for the national government. Governor Powie urged the Department of Planning to table the reports on the use of development funding to prioritize sectors in the development budget in order to keep track of the development expenditures.
Have some visibility on how we as government, as custodians of our people's budget, can account and inform the people where earmarked development funds are expended so far, how each sector is funded, and what programs get funded and so forth.
Minister Paita reiterates that the implementation is captured in the 4th Medium-Term Development Plan and that the government will outsource monitoring and implementation, adding that a detailed report on how the government is spending in terms of national agendas in priority sectors will be tabled for the people to know.
Mimi Rausim, outsourcing, meaning that people like KPMG or Deloitte or SMEC or international reputable companies will now assess big programs such as Connect PNG or Big Mani Miblagim provinces. We have an independent team assessing and giving us the evaluation of these projects and ensure that we implement. So coming to his series of questions on one, can we table to Parliament a report on this one as soon as our Treasurer hands down the report on the Maya 4? I can assure this House that I will table a very detailed report on how we are spending in terms of national agendas such as law and order, health, education, but at the same time, the level of funding we are giving districts, provinces, so that we are all held accountable to how much we are spending at different levels of our government.
Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
Member for Vanimo Greenbelt and Nama has raised a series of concerns to the Prime Minister James Marape over the 5 million Kina Vanimo to Wutung electricity project in today's Parliament sitting.
Nama said provision of electricity, including essential services such as water and telecommunication, is the sovereign responsibility and obligation of an independent state. He highlighted that emphasis had been on the Connect PNG program and not so much about electricity.
At what cost have we as a country allowed another country to come and provide a service that we are supposed to provide to our people? We have allowed them to encroach into our land borders. We have allowed them to build infrastructure in our territorial waters. We have done nothing about it. And now we have gone and begged them to supply power to us, which is our sovereign obligation.
Nama made an appeal to the Prime Minister James Marape to immediately withdraw the power supply project to Wutung. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
Mineral Resources Development Company Limited has grown in value from a portfolio of 396 million Kina in 2006 to 7 billion Kina in 2022. Prime Minister James Marape said when presenting the financial accounts for the Mineral Resources Development Company Limited today in Parliament.
Prime Minister Marape said the portfolio of assets is well diversified, with investments that MRDC has major shareholdings with.
The assets is well diversified with investment in banking, airline, hotel, hospitality, healthcare, real estate, and commercial office space and power generation, amongst others.
Marape said investments that the MRDC Group owns has 100% ownership, which includes the Star Mountain Plaza, Rio Gas and Power Limited, Pacific Property Trust, which owns Prime Real Estate in downtown, and Hohola Service Station, which is providing retail field service in the capital city.
Hilton into the country for the first time. It opened in 2018. Making available its opulent facilities to support government in successfully hosting of APEC meeting in 2018 and APEC Leaders Summit in 2018. MRDC's power company Dirio is today an independent power producing, providing power to residents in the city of Port Moresby and uses gas from the PNG LNG.
He added that MRDC's income is generated through management fees, which are paid every year by each of the subsidiaries it manages. Amanda Ilaitia, National EMTV News.
Military investigations into the untimely death of 2 soldiers killed at Cupiano in the Central Province during a military exercise have been completed. 3 officers have been identified in the shooting on the 4th of July of this year. This was revealed by the Chief of Defense Force Commander Major General Mark Goina in a press conference this morning.
In a media conference today at the Mari Barracks headquarters, Major General Mark Goina gave a summary of the completed investigations.
The pattern attack has been confirmed by the investigation to have been done by one person only. I have concurred the findings and the recommendations made in the investigation report. Those personnel responsible for these procedures and processes have been identified and will go through a process of code of military discipline.
Commander Goina further said the suspects identified will be handed over to police for prosecution. This incident has caused the PNGDF hierarchy to do some changes within its rank and file.
I have ordered the immediate suspension of the command team from the unit commander all the way down to those that are responsible, indirectly or directly to the incident.
Meantime, Commander Goina revealed that all repatriation costs will be met by the force. The Chief of Defense Force also revealed that the force will sit with the Department of Labor officers so the immediate family can be compensated accordingly. The 2 deceased soldiers will be flown back to their home provinces on or before the 9th of August 2023 to be laid to rest. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
PNG Defense Force Commander Major General Mark Goina has clarified that their presence in Bougainville is to assist in humanitarian aid. With the recent mild eruption of Mount Bagana in central Bougainville, a PNGDF vessel is assisting in shipping food and relief supplies.
It has been almost 20 years now since a PNGDF vessel entered the waters of Bougainville, this time to bring food assistance and humanitarian support to displaced families in North and South Bougainville. In a press conference today, PNGDF's Commander Major General Mark Goina clarified on this support mission.
So that's what we are doing. It's a humanitarian response at the request of the President of the Autonomous Region of Bougainville to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has accepted their request, and as a result, the PNGDF has been tasked to work with the National Disaster Center in support of our people who need these relief supplies to be given to them.
Commander Goina said the force was tasked with the permission of ABG President Ismail Toroama to assist by transporting food, water and other necessities to displaced families in care centers in Torokina and Wakunai, and they are more than happy and willing to assist. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with more stories. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Public Service Minister Joe Sungi today released the recommendations of the Human Resource Audit conducted on the Integrated Public Service Payroll System for the government of Papua New Guinea.
Minister Sungi told Parliament today that the government, in its commitment to accountability and good governance, initiated this independent HR payroll system.
Carried out by Deloitte Touch Tomatsu, a reputable and experienced auditing agency tasked with assessing the system's effectiveness, efficiency, and compliance with relevant regulations.
He said the audit team conducted a thorough review of the HR payroll system and identified several key findings.
The audit highlighted certain instances of inaccuracies in pay data, such as outdated records, incorrect designations, and duplicate entries, and others as well. These inaccuracies have resulted in occasional errors in payroll processing. 2. Internal controls. While the system has some internal controls in place, the audit revealed areas where these controls could be strengthened to improve fraudulent activities and enhance data security.
Minister Sungi added that the government takes these findings seriously and immediate actions have been taken and will continue to implement and address the issues raised in the audit report.
A comprehensive data cleansing exercise is currently underway to rectify inaccuracies and ensure that the employee records in the human resource payroll system are up to date and accurate. The government is collaborating with experts in the field to enhance the system's internal controls, ensuring better security and preventing of fraudulent activities. The government has allocated resources to upgrade the HR payroll system's infrastructure and optimize its performance through peak times.
An implementation work plan to commence implementation of the findings and recommendations is now set in motion and requires the support of the government to implement this important reform agenda. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
After almost 13 years, the National Statistical Office is now in preparation with all the necessary documents, structural listings and mapping to conduct the 2024 census. This was announced today by National Statistician John Igitoy.
Every 10 years, Papua New Guinea conducts a decennial census with the goal of determining the distribution of resources and political representation by counting every person in the area where they live in the country. The last census was carried out in 2011 after preparations in 2010. The next census was supposed to have been conducted in 2020. Unfortunately, it did not happen due to COVID-19 pandemic and 2022 national general elections. The National Statistician says population data is an information bank for further analysis on the population and socio-economic dynamics of the population.
We have security committees chaired by, I think, police and defense on different areas. We have some areas because we will be utilizing more than 20 to 25,000 people on the ground. We need to identify the hotspots and provide security and various other aspects of it. So those things has to be properly identified, and that's where we have those different committees. We also have publicity and awareness. We need to inform the right kind of information to our people in the rural communities, as well as outside of the NSO and outside of within the country, to be able to understand and appreciate the purpose of why we conduct the census.
He also highlighted that they have successfully completed the Provincial Census Coordinators Workshop in June to July of last year.
We have more than 60 documents that we NSO writes. These are manuals, some of them. Some are editing and classification manuals. Some are what we call notable events. There are people that do not know their ages, so we ask them in their province certain notable events that occurred and how old were they. So they point to somebody in the village, and we can estimate their ages. So this is basically why we have those notable events and a few other documents that we need to do so.
However, the National Statistical Office needs a total of 150 million kina for next year.
We have received previous month, June, towards the end of June, we received only 26 million kina. So the appropriation, the actual appropriation of 50 million kina, plus our plan that we wanted to actually effectively do the preparations is about a funding gap of about 55 million kina. So that's something that we falling short of. But that's basically what we are expecting. And next year, for the actual enumeration and for the materials to be taken to those different locations, that will be about 150 million kina.
National Statistical Office is calling for a collaborative effort from the national, provincial, LLG and ward level governments to properly take stock of everyone and do proper plans and allocate resources in order to manage every individual in a more meaningful and effective way. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Minister for Information and Communications Technology Timothy Masiu highlighted the need for a media development policy and condemned the wounding of National Broadcasting Corporation's journalists today in a press conference in Port Moresby. Minister Masiu outlined that the media development policy will regulate media in the country. The need for this proposed policy reflected upon an incident yesterday where an NBC journalist, Gwenda Larea, was shot in the line of duty in Port Moresby.
So this media development policy is a timely intervention. In our haste to talk about the bigger items like media transparency and media regulation, we easily forget the well-being and welfare of the journalists in the industry. So this is a major thrust of the policy.
Minister Masiu said the National Media Development Policy has been completed and will be presented to the National Executive Council for endorsement.
The National Media Commission will oversee media quality issues, while the Government Media Advisory Committee will focus on mobilizing the all-of-government media rationalization review and expanding access.
The Special Economic Zone Authority Board has opposed the private members' bill process. They have made their statement yesterday at the Special Economic Zone Authority office in Port Moresby. The private members' bill will allow for the establishment of different SEZs in the country and is contrary or against to the Special Economic Zone Authority Act of 2019, which was passed in Parliament and set forthwith by the Marape Rosso government. The SEZA board appealed that when special economic zones are established using different standalone acts of Parliament without complying with the SEZA Act 2019, this will result in the malfunction of the authority's functions. SEZ Authority Chairman Varigini Badira stated that all parties must comply with the SEZ Act 2019.
We will do a awareness on the process of application to get a SEZ license through the district and the requirements that are contained in the Act, so all our enterprises and our private sector in country can be able to tap into the incentives, tax incentives and other fiscal incentives and other incentives that are contained currently within the Act. They can already benefit from targeting downstream processing and exportation of our locally made produce to other countries.
Special Economic Zone Authority Deputy Chairman Dr. Lawrence Sauce emphasized on the consequences for the creation of SEZs using different enabling acts.
Different stakeholders and particularly public and private developers in rerouting the National Unified Framework and absconding from that and using the leeway of private members' bill to set up Special Economic Zones Authority. By doing so, that route abrogates the existing Unified National Framework.
The SEZ Authority Board, in performing its function to bring investments and encourage downstream processing, and had partnered with the PNG Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Departments of International Trade and Investment, with Commerce and Industry, with the key objective to identify potential stakeholders and enterprises to develop SEZs. And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2790 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.2715 $0.4122 Australian dollars, $0.2404 euro, 38.51 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee closed higher, cocoa closed higher, copra closed lower, palm oil closed higher, crude oil is trading lower, copper closed lower. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading lower, the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Moving to overseas news now, and 45 people are dead after resilient and police-targeted drugs gangs in 3 Brazilian states.
At least 10 people were killed in Rio de Janeiro when a gunfight broke out between military police and gang members. Officers say they acted after receiving intelligence on a high-level meeting involving gang leaders, and that 2 of the people killed were heads of local drug operations. At least 14 were killed in clashes in Sao Paulo state, but the raids are unlikely to continue, with Brazil's Justice Minister Flávio Gino saying the police action was not proportional to the crimes committed.
The former president is expected to face 4 charges tomorrow over his alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 election result.
He is facing 4 criminal charges. They include conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. But as he has done with other cases brought against him, Donald Trump has criticised this indictment. He insists that he has done nothing wrong and that these charges are politically motivated. That was an argument that was reinforced by one of his lawyers earlier today.
But what the president wants to do is absolutely defend himself on these baseless charges. This is the first time that political speech has been criminalized in the history of the United States.
Now, this is the 3rd time that Donald Trump has been indicted. He's already set to go to trial in 2 separate cases next year. They are the New York case, in which he's been charged with falsifying business records, and also a separate federal case in Florida.
Up to 70% of homeless young people with mental issues are accessing the services of Melbourne City Mission.
Victoria's biggest youth homelessness provider says up to 70% of 16 to 24-year-olds who used their services experienced a mental health episode. Many were so severe they ended up in hospital.
Most of them are escaping family violence.
Melbourne City Mission's front yard crisis accommodation is a home for young people with nowhere else to go. But it's a short-term solution.
Usually accommodation is provided for 6 to 12 weeks with a focus on securing housing. Now housing is not available.
More than 122,000 Australians were homeless at the last census. Nearly a quarter of those were aged between 12 and 24. Advocates say this group has complex needs which aren't being met.
A man was facing court today over stabbing attack in northwest Melbourne.
A 36-year-old man from Broadmeadows is now in custody. He's been in custody overnight and will face Melbourne Magistrates Court today over this incident, which occurred yesterday at around 1 p.m. At Moonee Ponds. Police were called to Puckle Street, a group of shops there, and were responding to an alleged shoplifting incident. Police will allege that this man has attempted to rob a business and has then assaulted a number of people and has used a sharp object, reportedly a pen, and has stabbed a number of them. Nearby workers and witnesses have come to their aid at the time. Here's what they had told the ABC last night.
The lady at the $2 shop, she had a packet of frozen peas on her neck, and I'm like, are you okay? Like, what's happened? She's like, the man's just stabbed me, and she's like, I need to close the shop.
So a total of 4 people were injured, 2 women, 2 men, aged between their 30s and 80s. They are in a stable condition and they were taken to 2 hospitals, St Vincent's and the Royal Melbourne, with non-life-threatening injuries.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sport. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. And one of Trukai Industries Limited flagship event, the Trukai Fun Run, will witness several cities and towns host the 2023 Trukai Fun Run. This is also part of supporting Team PNG through the Olympic Committee to raise funds to send Team PNG to the Pacific Games.
The PNG Olympic Committee, in partnership with the Trukai Industries Limited, is looking forward to hosting one of its biggest events in the sporting calendar, the Trukai Fun Run, where several centres in the country will host on the 20th of August on the same day. Proceeds raised from the Trukai Fun Run will go towards supporting Team PNG to this year's 2023 Pacific Games to be hosted in Solomon Islands. While the PNG Olympic Committee is busy organising Team PNG and other fundraising drives, such as the PM's Golf Challenge, the national federations are busy preparing their athletes for the Pacific Games. This year, Trukai Fun Run will be hosting the 23rd event since it came on board as the naming rights sponsor to the Trukai Fun Run event hosted yearly in the country. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
PNG Kickboxing Federation will host its gala dinner tonight in Port Moresby, where President Stanley Nandex, PNG international reps, and fighters representing PNG will also be present together with individual sponsors. The gala dinner, organized by PNG Kickboxing Federation, is to raise funds for the kickboxers traveling to Miami, USA this month. The number of fighters traveling to represent PNG for this international meet is yet to be confirmed. The team will be accompanied by President Stanley Nandex to USA. They are hoping to raise around 200,000 kina to support the team so that they can attend this event. The aim behind this trip to USA is to promote the PNG fighters by exposing PNG talents and also to attract international promoters. With just 2 days away, the excitement for the Rosso Cup Mountain Bike Race 2023 is building in Lae as sponsors gear up. The 2-day race is set for the 5th to the 6th of August this year in Lae at the Morabe Showgrounds.
The Lae Chamber of Commerce and Industry President and Lae Fest Chairman, John Byrne, expressed that this event brings to the forefront the strengths of Lae as a community. In support to the initiator, Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso's passion for restoring the beauty, culture, sporting and family atmosphere of Lae City. He said this, acknowledging the sponsors supporting the event, with many on board again for the second year. The Paradise Foods Limited has given 10,000 kina cash sponsorship towards this year's Rosso Cup and Lae Fest, and is also the official water sponsor for the event through their home brand, Chuchuwara. Paradise Foods will also be sponsoring the 6 to 10-year-old bike events through its Smart Start and Gala brands, with children participating in branded t-shirts respectively in all the events. Other sponsors include the Swire Group, Bodily Hardware, Telecom, Moniplus and Platinum sponsor Goodman Fielder. Natasha Ovoy, Chukai Sports.
Angaram District in the East Sepik Province will be using sport as a tool for social development. Recently appointed District Sports Coordinator Nolan Gumaim shared the statement after he was tasked to assemble a team for the upcoming Momase Regional Youth Games to be hosted in Medang Province.
Mr. Gumaim said his hope is to see the mindsets of youths in the district are prepared for rehabilitation activities and to minimize illicit activities in and around the 158 wards. Gumaim, along with his General Team Manager, Edmund Tupui, with funding support from the Office of the Local Member, Salio Waipo, have been working tirelessly with their district youths to coordinate preparations. Their efforts so far have seen them formally register as the second district in the entire Momase region after Ambunti. The aim is to connect sports with agriculture, religion, education and any other government or NGO intervention programs that will improve their quality of life. As stated in Vision 2050, he wants to set a good foundation for the youths of today and for future generations. He acknowledges the Minister for Forestry and local MP, Salio Waipo, for his great support together with the District Administrator, Martin Ansaka, and all the LLG managers for their tireless support to help rehabilitate the youths through sport. Esther Gane, Chukai Sports.
Chukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. As the National Rugby League competition looks forward to host its round 16 matches, the competition only has 2 more regular rounds remaining before the grand final rounds.
The competition will head into its round 16 matches this week, with respective games to be played around the country. As the National Rugby League competition looks forward to hosting its round 16 matches, the competition only has 2 more regular rounds remaining before the competition heads into its preliminary round of 4 weekends and the Premiership title, which is the grand final between the top 2 teams. After the round 16 and round 17 next weekend, the competition will have 4 weeks as the preliminary rounds followed by the semi-final rounds and the grand final before the competition ends on September. Current team leading the competition so far in the competition are the Engam Mioks. Godwin Eki, Chukai Sports.
The Netball World Cup 2023 is currently playing its preliminary games. Let's take a look at how some teams performed today.
The Netball World Cup took off to a good start with Tonga and Scotland taking the courts first. Tonga took the lead in just seconds to score the first goal before Scotland returned the favour to equalise the score. This brought the first quarter to a close finish of 15-10 in favour of Tonga.
From Pallavi, just to play it straight in.
In the second quarter, Tonga maintained its position on the scoreboard as strategically had the ball in air to reaching the goal mouth only to lead the quarter 28 points to 23, bringing the match to half-time.
Great take there from Pallavi.
In the third quarter, despite the strong attack from Scotland, Tonga defended well as they progressed meaningfully, showing their prowess in the court as they went toe-to-toe against their opponent. Third quarter score, Tonga 44, Scotland 35.
I think that's why.
In the last and final quarter, it came to a close finish, but Tonga held on tight, brushing off their opponents as they held on strong at the goal, only to outthrow the tough Scotland side at the final hooter with 55 points win to 46.
Ball in hand.
In other matches, Zimbabwe outsmarted their opponent Sri Lanka at full-time with 71 points to 36. England trashed Fiji 89 points to 27. Australia stepping on their opponent at full-time with a 70 points win to 46, with Malawi in the losing end of the match. And Barbados taking lead with a 5-point difference over Singapore with 55 points to 50 at the final hooter. The Netball World Cup hosted by South Africa 2023 continues.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
Looking at the weather report for the next 24 hours, in the southern region, Port Moresby City and Daru, sunny, fine and windy. Kerema, partly cloudy with evening brief showers. Alatau, partly cloudy with possible evening shower and windy. Popondetta, cloudy periods with few showers. In the Momase region, Lay City, cloudy with few showers. Madang, partly cloudy with few evening showers. Wewak, cloudy periods with few showers and thunderstorms. Vanimo, cloudy periods with few showers and possible thunderstorms. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengo, cloudy periods with few showers and possible thunderstorms. Kavieng, partly cloudy with brief afternoon showers. Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy periods. Kimbe, partly cloudy with few evening showers. Buka, cloudy periods with rain showers and possible thunderstorms. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, partly cloudy with evening shower or two. Gorka and Kundiawa, partly cloudy with evening showers, drizzles. Mendi and Wabek, cloudy with evening rain showers and thunderstorms with drizzles. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border to Daru to Kiwai Islands to Kerema to Yule Island to Port Moresby to Hood Point to Samurai Islands, seas 2.5 to 3.3 meters. Waters off Samurai Island to eastern and western Milne Bay Islands to Cape Vogel, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters north of Cape Vogel to Huon Gulf to Finchofen, seas 1 to 2 meters. Waters of Finchofen through VTS Dampier Straits to CSE Long Island, seas 2 to 3.5 meters. Waters north of Long Island to Medang to Wewak to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 1.5 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 1.5 to 2.5 meters. Waters of East New Britain to New Island and Bougainville, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of West New Britain, seas 2 to 3 meters. Coral Sea, seas rough, southeast winds with 30 to 45 knots. Solomon Sea, seas rough, southeast winds of 25 to 33 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas rough to very rough, southeast winds of 30 to 47 knots. Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate, southwest winds of 10 to 20 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Thursday, the 3rd of August 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.